Hey there, we're taking a look at our Edge Technologies FMB-565. I think that's the model number on it. I don't really recall, but we're trying to get longer lengths in this guy. And we can do that because the spindle on our Mori lathe this is attached to is long enough to fit the bar at the loading station. But to get this to move, we've got to move this end plate. And we've already modified it once, and we got ourselves up to 21'8". But now it turns out, with the bundle of material we brought in here, that we need to get all the way up to 22 feet, maybe even 22'1". We'll see. Otherwise, we got to take all that stuff to the bandsaw and trim an inch off it before we can load it, which that's not ideal. So to get this end plate moved, we can move it all the way up to the edge of the short pusher here. So I've got the machine open, it's powered off right now. But our short pusher is this block right here. You see this guy kind of moves separate. This is the long pusher that it attaches to when it drops in the channel. Now that long pusher comes up with the channel. So as long as my tube drops in ahead of the short pusher, that short pusher can locate it. So what we're going to try to do here is take this plate here and get it moved all the way up into here to drop that bar in front of the short pusher, but as tight up to it as we can get. To do that, we've got to move this solenoid pack. So this is nice all on one little block, but we got to figure out how we can relocate it. We might have to extend some lines here, I'm not really sure yet. But we'll get some sheet metal or something fabbed up and figure out how we can relocate this that gets it down past the short pusher. Now the key to making this all work is that when the short pusher comes up and locates the tube for the collet insertion, it's going to finish and drop the bar off right about here. Now when it drops that bar off and leaves it sitting there, you got to make sure the other end, the far end of it, isn't already sticking into the machine. Now again, with our Mori, it's got a long enough spindle that we can make that work. And so we've kind of already checked that out. So we should be all good to go to get 22 feet out of it. And we'll get you guys an update when we make that happen. We got the solenoid block relocated. It used to be down over here, and it prevented this backstop from sliding backwards. So we got it slid and remounted over here, which puts our alignment edge just in front of the short pusher here. That now gives us 22 foot 3½ inches of available bar length. A couple things you got to check out when you do that, though, is that if we put a bar in that's that full length, we have to make sure that it's actually going to fit inside the spindle and not stick out too far. So let's take a trip to the other end and show you what we measured out there. So first thing I did is I put a bar stub in there at the shortest stick out that we use, which is 2 3/4 inches. Again, it's the shortest stick out we use because of live tool clearances and things like that. And then what that gives us is distance from the front of that tube to our front standoff is 70 3/4 inches. So that means we've got 70 3/4 inches available to push the tube forward before it gets too far into the machine. So we can take a look then back on this side. When the tube falls there and the short pusher pushes it forward, it's going to have to push it forward 70 inches for the gripper station. So we clear by like 3/4 inch. So that's pretty much as long as we can possibly make it. So the front stop we extended by just putting a shaft in here to move it all out. That's pretty straightforward. Now the farthest forward this can stick, which we can't go any more than this already, but there's a flapper right here. And that flapper measures the end of the bar after loading. So that's the furthest forward we could go, so you can see we're about a half inch away from that. Can't do much more. Now there is one setting on the bar feed we had to change. So in the service menu and positions, there's a position here, they call it position storage. But what that position storage is used for, it's like the rapid approach for the short pusher before it would get to the bar. Now originally the bar was up somewhere in this neighborhood. So it would do a fast rapid up to here, and then it would do its slow push. Because we've extended it all the way back, I've taken that storage position down to 0 inches, so it'll never do that rapid approach. It'll just do a feed from here all the way to the gripper position up here. If we measure it all out and everything's working right, hopefully we'll be loading bars and back here running. go. And there she is, sticking through. Of course, I got to change that collet out, but that's loading 22-foot bars now.